Are you guys as sad as me that this is the last night that we get together? All right, you come visit. All right, you guys come visit me anytime. So, are y'all ready to get started? All right, so here's the deal. I want to thank you guys. Thank you guys for letting me come and talk to you guys. I absolutely love doing this. I love talking to you guys. I love being with you guys, hanging out and doing things. And thank you. So thank you guys for letting me do that. Now, here's the thing. I need to do one thing. I wanted to do it last night, but I forgot something. But I remembered it tonight. You guys ready for this? I'm the only 36-year-old man who has a selfie stick. I'm pretty sure. Judson's not 36 yet. Your dad? Oh, okay. I'm your dad. Not your dad? All right, are y'all ready? So, should I take it right here? Like this? No. Can you guys see? Are you guys going to do something goofy or what? I mean, you guys ready? Yes. Be looking for it on the social media stuff, alright? You guys ready? Here we go. Somebody fell on the floor. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. The second one. Come on, you guys are not crazy tonight. What's going on? Alright, so here's the deal. Listen, I am going to give you permission to get up for just a second and gather together. Ready? Go over to the back. Show them your skills. Show them your skills. Hey, you might want to. Do you want to? All right. What's my man think he's going to do? Just throw an imaginary ball? Hey, so here's the deal. So last night, I liked the idea that last night we had a commentator. That added a little bit more flavor to it. So tonight, what we need is a girl commentator.
Super excited about this, alright? She's like jumping up and down, just wants to commentate.
Ready? Alright, commentators. Alright, wait. Hold on. Are you ready? You're good. You sure? You no pressure. Everybody turn around and look at Zach. Everybody turn around and look at Zach. Everybody look at the guy who's going to be straight. Are you going to commentate ESPN?
She doesn't know what she's doing.
10th frame, this guy looks really nervous. He's obviously very nervous.
Okay.
Everyone's staring at him.
You don't have to whisper, commentator. Anytime you're asked. Go for it. He about killed us like, everybody get your feet inside. Give my man another time here. All right, Zach, concentrate. Look, act like you're going to hit me. Ready? I'll be the captain.
He tries to make it fair.
Right here, Brian. Here we go. Oh! He kissed the pin. All right, so, and Bob, where's my commentator? Where's my commentator? Right here. I'm not even here.
I said not to mess up.
Okay, don't mess up.
I tell him what to do.
The commentators are like on ESPN going, and all right, you ready? All right, now concentrate. Everybody chill out. Everybody look this way. Let's go. Let's get Zach. Let's get him in the zone. Let's go. All right, now everybody turn around real quick and look at him like this. Any pressure, Zach? Zach, you totally missed the pins. Here we go. Nice. Zach, Zach, I'll tell you what, I'll give you a good prize. You can tell me all 10. We might get some help, that's okay. Come on. Where's my commentator, Mike? Can't have you there much service. Talking while I'm talking.
Do you like the microphones? Does it bother you? Then I won't make you use it. But you can tell me, and I will tell them. Keep going, number 1, I'll take it. Number 2. No graven images. Number 3. Do not take guys and everything. 4. Yes, man, you're on a roll. You're so on a roll. Number 5. Yeah, you're dead. Number 6. Number 7. Number 8. Number 9. One more. Oh! So, I'm appreciating that. That was awesome. Let's get a girl. Hey, here we go. 2 prizes. I see like a lonely girl on an island over there by herself. Come on down, come on. Okay, now I need a guy commentator. Give me. Alright, I got it right here. My man looks just super excited over here. A little bit too excited.
I want you to knock these down because there is somebody in here who is knocked down.
Yes. No,
Tristan, oh, you got that one here? Okay, we haven't had anybody legally knock them down, okay? Excuse me, cheer company were over here knocked them down. All right, ready? You got this. You got this. Concentrate. Are you an athlete? Do you play any sports? Well, what do you play? Dude, she is so ready. She is so ready for this. Are you ready, Sarah? All right, take your time. My commentator will give a little commentation here.
We're going live on ESPN. Who's here? Is that the
I guess he's done. Go ahead, anytime you're ready.
She steps up to the line. She pulls. And
Oh, no! She had one down on the first try. I know. Sarah, can you tell me which one you knocked down? That's 10. For those of you that can't read another language. Not an X, it's 10. Don't cut it. Come on.
She got slide as a scratch.
When you win the game, then you make the rules. Alright, Sarah, are you ready? Concentrate. Wait, my commentator, what did you say?
she steps up to the line.
You need to turn the volume up on the TV a little bit. No, I didn't hear that. Alright, so, Sarah, concentrate. Please,
She
not
steps
so
up to the
bad.
line. She's going for the spare. She bolts in and brick.
Sienna, I have a tender spot in my heart for you, okay? So here's what I'm gonna do. The new line is like right here. Can you do it right here? Okay, we'll open up this thing. She's got 3 out of 4 of them left standing. Can anybody tell me what they are? Ready? Somebody tell me what number 1 is. Oh, raise your hands. What's number 1?
God first.
Okay.
God first. All good.
Number 3 is left standing. Number 3 is left standing.
No, they're just my boobs.
Yes, do not use the word that in vain. Number. What is that?
That's 6.
Okay, thank you. I can't read Roman numerals. I went to Tennessee to school, okay? Number 6. Oh, man. Do not kill. Ready? What's the last thing left standing? Number 9, number 9, number 9. Oh, man, somebody's so excited to be here tonight. Do not lie. You know what? This is my candy. I'll give it to you.
At the very end.
Alright. Sierra, main prize is for you tonight.
Oh my word.
If you just knock one of them down, just one. Just one thing card. I will go and give you the grand, super duper, spectacular prize of your life. Come on, just one pin, everybody. Okay, wait, time out. That was not even. She bit my bone.
Oh my word.
That's how strong I am. See that? All right, just all right. This ain't softball. It's bowling. Okay. Wait, which one she knows now? Okay, go. Okay, that's good enough. Good job, Sierra. That's why she ain't dead. What's the commandment? Okay. Give me that. That's an extra grand prize.
What the hell on the floor?
This is totally down your alley, Sarah. I know you want to lock this up on somebody, right? Everybody give Sarah a round of applause. All right, so one more quick thing I need to take care of before we get down to the real business. I need to shoot you guys with some smoke again, all right? Ready? Are you ready? Are you awake? You are now. Father God, thank you for tonight. Thank you so much for this whole week of camp, God. God, I pray that now that we transition to a time of being serious, that we will get serious with you and that we will listen to your word tonight. God, I pray that whatever it is that comes out of my mouth tonight is all of you, God. God, thank you so much for letting us have fun. But God, most importantly, let us learn about you. Help us to do that right now. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right. So we've been talking a lot about, what I've been talking about with you guys, is some Christian characteristics that we need to have, right? And some of the things we talked about was, you should be able to look, you should want to look foolish for Christ, doing things that some people just consider nuts, One of the things we talked about is pursuing Christ with our entire being, just going after Him with everything we got. Last night we talked about using our brokenness to glorify Christ, to let Christ's light shine through us so that other people can see Him. Tonight, what I want to talk about is this. All of us in here, as Christians, the Christian characteristic we should remember and we should take away with us is this. I want you guys to remember this from camp. This is probably the most important to me, is that we need to press on. We need to live our life not in view of what's going on now, what's going on here today, but I want you guys to live your life within view of what's going to happen in eternity. What's going to happen in eternity. So, you guys and girls have been awesome this week. And you guys and girls have listened so well this week. I hope that one more night you'll listen, because I feel like this is one of the most important things that you need to take away. Is how to live your life, how to live the rest of your life from this point forward. To live it for Christ, to live it in view of eternity. Alright, so here's the deal. I'm afraid what has happened, though, is that a lot of us have done this. A lot of us have built such a comfortable life here, We built such a comfortable life here that we love it so much that what's happened is that we're so comfortable here that we don't even look forward to Christ coming back, In fact, here's the deal. When I say, you know what, we should be happy that Christ is coming back one day, a lot of us are like this. Man, that's cool and all, but I hope he sure waits until like after next week, because as soon as I get home, I get to go to the assessor homecoming, you know, and if he comes back before then, that's going to be a bummer. I think that's what a lot of us are thinking, you know. A lot of us think of it like that, because a lot of us have built such a comfortable life here, and we like the things that we have here, that Christ has not become the center of our focus anymore. He's kind of just become something secondary. And we want to have more of this stuff here on this earth than we do want to have of Christ. And that's why I want us to change our view tonight. I want you guys to realize this. I don't care what you've got waiting for you at home. I don't care if you have $1 million whenever you get home. I don't care if you have $10 million waiting for you when you get home. It pales in comparison to Jesus Christ. We should not look forward to anything on this earth more than we should look forward to the coming back of Jesus. Now here's the deal. A lot of people are like, man, I don't know what to look forward to that, because that means that I got to die. You know? That's a scary thought, isn't it? But here's the thing. Being with Christ is going to be the most magnificent, glorious thing. And I can't even tell you guys. I can't even get up here and explain it to you guys what it is going to be like. You know? And so, I want you guys to realize, and we've been talking about this in all the talks that we've talked about this week, that God wants to have a personal relationship with you. I mean, just a personal one-on-one with you. He wants you to look forward to Him coming back. How many of you guys are looking forward to going home and seeing your family, you know? At this point, you know, there's a lot of us. I remember whenever I was in camp, you know, and I'll be honest with you guys, I didn't make it all the way through the week because I got homesick. I got so homesick that I had to call my mom and come get me, and you know, and so that was it. In fact, what I did was this: I had braces, and at the camp I went to in Tennessee, they sold them Now-Relators. You guys have those? Yeah, they're like really sticky. And they sold them in the canteen at that place. So I went and bought a tack and I chewed on it because I knew, you know what, if I chew on this, it'll pull my braces out. And if it pulls my braces out, I'll get to go home. So guess what happened? Went and bought a tack an hour later, chewed on it, pulled my braces out, and I was like, Mom, my braces broke, I gotta come home. And then my mom come pick me up, she's like, oh, I'll just take you to the dentist and you come right back. I was like, no, that's good, I'll stay home, Mom. Because here's the deal, I wanted to go home. I mean, I was homesick so bad, and so I wanted to go home, and I wanted to be with my parents so bad. And that's exactly how we should be today with God. Is that it should almost be like we are homesick to want to go home to God, to be with Him, that we would do anything. And we look forward to Him coming and getting us, you know? That's the way it should be with Christ. That's the relationship that He wants to have with you. Is He wants that type of relationship. Now, what happens though, is that while we're here waiting for Him to come back, you know, because you hear Christians use that term a lot. We use that term, we're waiting for Jesus to come back. One day He's coming back. And so we're sitting here and we're waiting for Him to come back one day. And we don't know when it's going to be, okay? Everybody says some different things. And there's some people who say, you know what, I got a date where He's coming back. Nobody knows, okay? Nobody knows when He's coming back. But as Christians, we know that we're supposed to be waiting for Him. Now here's what's happening. While we're waiting for Him, we build such a comfortable life here that we forget about Him coming back, and what we think about is the comfortable life that we have here. And so, we build such a good home here on this earth that we would actually be sad to leave this earth and go and be with Jesus. Like I said, there's lots of attitude that a lot of us have had. And listen, it's not just boys and girls, it's everybody. It's adults too. You know, when we say Jesus is coming back, it's almost like, you know what, Eric, you don't really need to be talking about that because that's sad, you know? If you're a Christian, it's not sad. That's like the whole point. That's like the crescendo of Christianity, is Him coming back. And so here's the thing. Paul talks about this a lot. Paul talks about it in the book of Philippians, but then Jesus also talks about this. And Jesus talks about it in this verse right here. In John chapter 18, verse 36, Jesus answered somebody and He says, look, He says, my kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, then my servants would be fighting so that I would not be handed over to the Jews. But as it is, my kingdom is not of this realm. So what Jesus is saying is, look, I want you to realize something. My kingdom, it's not here on this earth. My kingdom's not even here in this realm. My kingdom is in heaven. And that's what I'm living for. And that's the vision that Jesus had the whole time he was here, is he was envisioning one day when we will all be together in heaven. And so Jesus talks about that here. And what Jesus is saying is, look, don't set your roots here on this earth. You know? Don't set your roots here. Your citizenship is in heaven. And so here's the thing. If you're really honest with yourself, I want you guys to really think about this, because I have to think about it. If I'm really honest with myself and I ask myself this question, am I really in that big of a hurry to see Jesus? You know? Am I really homesick for him? Am I really counting down the hours whenever I can see Jesus one day? I don't know if I am sometimes. Because like I said, you know, a lot of this stuff in this world has got me wanting to stay here. But see, Paul talks about it in Philippians, and here's the deal with Paul. He was obsessed with thinking about that moment he would see Jesus face to face. He was obsessed with thinking about that. His whole life, his entire life, he spent preparing for that moment, you know. Right after the conversion, whenever he becomes, you know, Saul become Paul, from that point on, Paul spent his life preparing to meet Jesus face to face. And that's telling us something. That's what we should be doing. We should be spending our life here on this earth, not trying to gain wealth and fortune and all this stuff and all this good stuff here. There's nothing wrong with that stuff. That stuff's amoral. It's neither right or wrong. But it can be wrong if we put that stuff ahead of Jesus Christ. Here's what Paul says about this. Paul used a sports analogy back in the day. It was a sport. It was racing, you know. It was the Grecian sports. They would have people that would race. And it was just basically what it was, you know, you lined up next to somebody and you took off, and whoever got to the end won. And so Paul kind of uses that thought here. He says, not that I've already obtained it or I've already become perfect, but I press on so that I may lay hold of that which also I was laid hold of by Jesus Christ. Brethren, I do not regard myself as having laid hold of it yet, but one thing I do, forgetting what lies behind and reaching forward to what lies ahead. I press on toward the goal for the prize of the upward call in God in Christ Jesus. Let us therefore, as many are perfect, have this attitude, and if anything you have a different attitude, God will reveal that also to you. However, let us keep living at some days the same standard to which we have attained. So here's what Paul is saying here. Paul's using this analogy of a runner running a race, you know. And I want us to use that analogy for a minute here at just closing part of this. I want you to think about what it's like when you run a race. When you run a race, you know, I haven't ran a whole lot of races in my life. I used to be a lot smaller than I am now. I mean, not shorter. That would be like impossible. I would be like microscopic if I was much smaller. But I used to be a lot more stealth than I am now. And I used to be able to just run really fast, you know. And I could beat a lot of people whenever I would run. And so I can remember, you know, as you run, you were racing somebody and you got that mark right there in the eyesight. You just focus in on it. I mean, you were running hard as you can and you don't look around, you don't do anything, you just focus straight ahead, you know. You guys ever watch races and see how those runners do? They just focus straight ahead. They don't look around, and they don't, whenever you're running, you don't want to do this. Because if you do this, I've seen people do that, and they wind up tripping and falling and things like that. And so Paul's using that analogy of that's how that we should be here on this earth. We should be focused on the finish line, man. Just looking toward the finish line and running and not worrying about the stuff that's going on around us. Don't get caught up in looking at the things that are going on around you. You see, one thing Paul says he does is he looks toward the goal. He goes straight toward the prize. And so that's what I want you guys and girls to think about as we leave camp here. Is that the attitude that you have? Are we looking for the prize? Are we looking for the finish line of Jesus Christ? You see, all these things today, all this stuff around us today, it looks really appealing, you know. And man, we're in this race of life, and what we're doing nowadays is we're not focusing on the prize. We're not focusing on heaven. We're too busy looking around and seeing, oh look, new Xbox. Oh, I'm about to get a new car. Oh, and what happens is we wind up getting way off course. You know, the prize is right here, and we're running like in circles. Because we're too busy looking around at everything else and wanting everything else. And what we don't realize is when we're doing that, when we're wanting everything else around us, all of this stuff here, it's going to be gone one day. I'm a pastor, and I have had the opportunity of doing numerous funerals and things. And here's the thing about every funeral I do. They don't take nothing with them. Nothing. And the thing about every funeral I do, they go in the same area. You know? It's the same hole. No matter how much money they had, they don't take it with them. No matter how many pretty cars they had, I've never done a funeral of a guy who was buried with it. You know, I've seen some and heard of some tales like that, but really think about it. What good is that? It's still there. It's rusting away. And so I want you guys and girls to realize this. We are so busy and focused on getting all of this stuff and getting all of these great things, from wealth to fancy cars to even boyfriends and girlfriends, and I mean even our own families sometimes keep us from being focused on the ending prize, the goal. Jesus was asking another question in Luke chapter 9. It says, as they were going along the road, someone said to him, I'll follow you wherever you go. You know, maybe that's what some of you have done. Maybe some of you have told Jesus, you know, maybe you even come up here, or you come to your altar at your church, or you prayed with your mom and dad at home, or you prayed with a preacher, or you prayed with a friend somewhere, and that's what you said. You know, you said, hey, Jesus, I am going to follow you wherever you go. I'm all yours, Jesus. You know? Somebody told that to Jesus. Somebody had the opportunity to come up to Jesus and say, hey, I'm going to go wherever you go, Jesus. And Jesus said, all right, that's cool. But look, I want you to realize something. The foxes, they have holes, and the birds in the air, they have nests. But the Son of Man, he's got nowhere to lay his head. What did he mean there? Here's what he meant. Jesus is saying, look, you know what? You follow me, you got nothing else. If you follow me, do you realize that the only thing that you have is me? And do you realize that that's the only thing that you'll need? Is me. I'm not concerned about a home. I'm not concerned about fancy stuff. I'm not concerned about making myself comfortable here on this earth. I'm not concerned about building up a big wealth and fortune here on this earth, because my eyes is on the prize. My eyes are homeward bound. It's almost weird here because Jesus is like trying to almost talk this guy out of following him. That's a big conviction on people like me who do this for a living, quote unquote. Because I found myself, you know what? Here's what happens sometimes. I'm going to be honest, you know. The way that a lot of people will judge whether or not that this was a successful meeting or not, whether or not that this camp was successful, is we'll have these cards and we'll say, oh man, that was awesome. You had 12 people get saved and you had 5 people recommit their lives. And so that's what we focus on, you know. It's almost like that's our trophies sometimes. It's almost like that's all we care about is, you know what, so just as long as I got them under my belt, then I'm good to go. Maybe one day when I get to heaven, I'll be able to tell God, well, that's cool, God, you know what? I was a preacher one time in 2015 at Camp Hope, and like 3 people got saved under me. You know what God's going to say? He's going to say, you didn't do it. So you were focused on making yourself look better around other pastors and things. And you wasn't thinking about the prize, Eric. You know, I don't want him to say that to me. What I want him to say to me is, Eric, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. You've done such a good job because you didn't focus so much on the things of this earth as you did as focusing on me. And realizing that the things on this earth are temporal. That's what I want him to say to me one day. So, Jesus is almost like talking this guy out. And then he says to another guy, he said to another, follow me. But this other guy said, Lord, permit me first to go bury my father. That sounds like a reasonable thing, you know. I don't know, a lot of discussion there. Was God's father even dead yet? It doesn't matter. You know, that's not what matters here. What Jesus is trying to get across the point here is that a lot of us will look at that and go, man, that's cold-hearted, Jesus. Why'd you do that, you know? But what Jesus is trying to get across here to us as the readers is this, is he's trying to say, look, I want you to realize that there is absolutely nothing on this earth that is more important than me. Nothing. Not even your dad's, you know? There is nothing on this earth that is more important than me, and I want you to focus on me. I want you to focus on me alone. I want you to focus on crossing that finish line and quit looking around as you're running the race of life. You see, Jesus talks about it here. He talks about the dangers of the distractions that we all face every day. Because all of us are facing these distractions that are going to distract us from the goal one day of getting to heaven. We're going to let some of this stuff keep us from getting to heaven one day. We don't need to do that. You see, there's a lot of things, like I said, that I don't want to look around at and are really appealing to me. But here's the thing, I don't want to lose this race, you know? This is the most important race of my life. It's the race that I have toward heaven every day. And it's the most important race that you'll ever run to. And what I'm telling you guys and girls is this. Don't get distracted. Don't get distracted by all the stuff. It's not worth it. Here's the thing. I want you guys from this point on to do things for your future. Not for your past. I want you to do things for your future. Whenever I say do things for your future, yes, you guys need to study and you need to get good grades so that you'll have a future in a better school and then you'll be able to go get a better job. Those things are important, but that's not exactly the future I'm talking about. I'm talking about your eternal future. See, everything you do every day, it affects your eternal future. I'm going to close with this whole thing with this. There's an illustration I got from Francis Chan. You guys can look him up. Awesome dude. He is giving this illustration. And I use this illustration because, man, I get it. And if I get it, you know, simple-minded as I am, I think, well, surely some other people can get it. And so that's why I'm using this. And so I want you to think about this rope, all right? And I want you, we've got to use our imaginations here. All right, so let's just act like I just threw that rope out, okay? And that rope just went on and on and on forever and ever and ever. And it doesn't quit. All right? So that rope is representing eternity. I want you guys to realize something. This little piece right here at the very end, you know what that represents? Right now, your life. I want you to look at that. The life you're living right now is what this little piece of tape right here represents. The rest of this represents eternity, right? The rest of this represents time that we're going to spend with God. And it doesn't quit. It just keeps going on and on and on forever. But here's the problem. There's a lot of us. A majority of us are living our life, and we're living in a view of this right here. You know? Maybe you're at this point in your life right now. You know, and you still got this much. But I want you to look at how much more you got after that. On and on forever. And so my thing is this, is why in the world do we live our lives so infatuated with this much of it? You know, let's say that this represents 100 years. That's a long time to live on this earth. But we do things on this earth just to get as much as we can, just to do as much as we can right here in this little bit of time right here. And then we totally neglect all of this. You see, this is why this stuff is so important. This is why loving Christ is so important. Because we got one shot at it, boys and girls. This is it. And then we got to face what we've done in this amount of time right here for the rest of eternity. So that's why. Look, I don't know where I'm at on this piece of tape. Maybe I'm right here, you know. Some of you guys may be right here. I may be right about here. And so I got this much more to live, you know. And so that's what I'm saying, is that's why I want to make my life count from this point on. God, I want to make this little bit count for Christ, you know. There's a lot back here that I did that, man, I wished I would have done. It was pointless. It was useless. It's wasted. It has no bearing on this, you know. I want to make this much left count. And I don't know where you're at on this piece of tape. I don't know. But the problem is this, is that all of us we have this. And then when it's over, we got this. On and on, forever. So before you boys and girls leave me, that's what I want you guys to understand. That's the biggest characteristic of a Christian that I think you need to get, is that you need to realize that this is just a short amount of time. And we better make the best of it while we're here. We better make the most of this while we're here for Jesus Christ. Because one day, when we cross this finish line right here, and step into this, we're going to be with Him forever. I hope. You guys know what the other option is, right? But here's the thing. None of you in here, when we cross this finish line right here, none of you in here can use the excuse and say, I didn't know, Jesus. I had no idea. Because you know what Jesus is going to say? He's going to say, well, you remember that little ball guy that I sent to you in 2015? He told you about that. He told you about that. There's no more excuses. So here's my thing, guys and girls. Tonight's it. Tonight's our last night here at camp. All right? If you haven't made it right with Christ yet, if you haven't made it right with Christ yet, you know what? It doesn't matter if you're at this point. All this back here, it's done. It's finished. But here's the deal. You got this much more, guys. Make it count from this point on. Live a life worthy of being a Christian. Live a life with eternity in mind. If you haven't done that yet tonight, I'm going to invite you guys to do that. You know, I want to let you guys, we'll use this altar tonight up front. You know, I heard some people don't like to necessarily go to the back. It doesn't matter. Look, I don't care where you go. I don't care if you go up front. I don't care if you go up back. I don't care if you go, I don't care. Just make sure that the counselor sees you and you go to a counselor. And if you need to get your life right with Christ tonight, do so. Do so. Because look, I'm not trying to scare anybody or anything like that, but we don't have no idea how much of this we got left, right? Have no idea. I told you guys last night my story, and my story tells you this, is that, man, life changes in an instant. My life changed with 4 words, you know? And it come out of the blue. So make sure, boys and girls, that you're right with Christ tonight, and that you're going to say, hey, look, for the rest of my life, I'm going to live it with a view of eternity in mind. If you need to do that tonight, you can come up front, you can go to the back, you can go to a counselor. Wherever you want to go, go. Just go. Let's pray. Father God, thank you for tonight. Thank you so much for your love and kindness, God. God, help us to all live a life in view of eternity. Help us to all realize that the things we do here on this earth, they affect our decisions of eternity every day, God, and that we need to focus more on you. God, help us to focus on you. Help us to be so focused on you that we don't get caught up in the distractions that are around us, that we don't get caught up in the bad things, God, that will drag us down. God, help us to just press on. Help us to go toward the prize, God. Because, God, it's going to be glorious one day when we do cross that finish line. God, thank you so much for your love. Thank you so much for your Son, Jesus, who made it possible for us to cross the finish line and spend it with Him. It's in His name I pray. Amen. You guys will stand. Judson will start some music. And here's the deal. If you need to come up front, come up front. If you need to go to the back, go to the back. I don't care where you go. But if you need to go, just go.